Okay, thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here and to share important information regarding this topic. So I will share my screen so you can guys take a look at the presentation. Is it showing right now?
Yes, it is showing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the topic for today is understanding sustainable labels and certifications. A little bit of introduction about this topic is that the sustainable labels and certifications play a very important role in helping us, the consumers and the businesses, to make more informed, eco-conscious choices. This also helps a lot, for example, new upcoming designers where they are trying to be a different proposal to the marketing. They also can get all these kind of labels so they can be more ethical in their products. So they cover a broad range of areas that we will take a look after, including environmental protection, fair labor practices, animal welfare, and carbon emissions. So it can make it easier to navigate the complexities of the sustainability to the marketplace. We all know that this topic is a little bit new and it's a challenge for the companies and for designers to walk this path, but the more information we get, the more we can ask for designers and for the market. So as I said before, there are types of sustainability certifications that includes environmental impact, organic certifications, fair trade certifications, and animal welfare. So in a few words, we can say that the sustainable labels are indicators of the products that they have been using practical practices that are respectful for the planet and respectful for the people, and they can have a positive social impact. And usually these kinds of labels are issued by a third-party organizations after they make like an audit of the brand, so they can say, or they can issue the certifications that this brand it is working below these standards of sustainability. So the first question is, why is it important? Why is it matter for us and for the economy? And we all know that right now we face a lot of greenwashing, where brands, they just want to make big sales, and they want to be in how can I say it? They want to sound like they're making sustainable practices, and they can use different words that can confuse the consumers, right? So it is important for us that when we see a brand and it has a certification label, that gives us the tranquility that we are acquiring sustainable goods. And like I said, we're going to get to know about all the different sustainable certifications. So I'm going to show you, like I mentioned before, the environmental, organic certifications, fair trade, and animal welfare. So we're going to take a look at a few organizations that I found. I think these are the more that are more mainstream, but I'm sure that each country or different areas of the world have their own. So the first one is the Forest Stewardship Council, and this one ensures that the wood and paper products are coming from managed forests that provide environmental, social, and economy benefits. And then we have the Rainforest Alliance and the Marine Stewardship Council and the U.S. Green Building. I have put there a little explanation of what they stand for, But I think we are going to move on to the next one, the organic and chemical-free certification. I think this one is very important since we are now at the campaign of Know Your Sportswear. And I came across a case study about a few sportswear brands that they manufacture different clothes that include chemicals. And with this said, it affects the health of the women that are wearing the leggings, the shorts and everything. So these are the certifications that can in some way assure the consumer that the brand it is using these sustainable practices. The first one is the USDA organic, and this certification ensures that the products are made without synthetic pesticides, generic engineering, and certain prohibited substances. In addition to food, for example, these are the most common label used on food, but it can apply to textiles, cosmetic, and personal care product. I'm sorry, I had a little bit noise in the house. So then we have the Global Organic Textile Standard. This certification leads the standard for organic fibers in the textile industry. It ensures that the textiles are made from organic fibers without the use of harmful chemicals. I think that there are different areas in the world where they harvest this kind of textile, and I think it's very important for us to know that, for example, cotton, wool, all that kind of natural fibers are in this organic textile standard. Then we have the standard 100 is international certification for textiles that ensures that every component in the textile product has been tested for harmful substances and it's safe for the human use. Then we have the social and fair trade certifications. These are the three the most common that I found. And I mean, these kind of certifications stands for the fair principles, including fair wage, transparency, and environmental protection for gender equity. I think it's very important that the people that make our clothes need to be in a safe space. They can it's important for us that the people that make our clothes also get fair wages, and that the place where they manufacture the clothing is safe for them in health wise and also as a job, right? Then we have the animal welfare certification. I think this one stands more into, for example, the making of the leather and all of these practices. I think that it's a little bit that our last campaign was about leather, and we learned more about the processes that includes making the leather, but I think we can have a different options making fibers or textile that are a little bit close to leather so that animals don't get all the negative process of making leather. And then we have the health and safety certifications. It's a little bit close as the one that I explained before, and it's about organizations that try to minimize their environmental impact, and they have different regulations, and they work towards having a more circular economy. This also applies more into the agriculture, but it can also apply to textile businesses. So the next part is how do we recognize the sustainable labels? And it's essential for us to know that some brands use different words to try to tell us that their product is sustainable when sometimes it cannot be like that way. So they often use words like natural, green, or eco-conscious, but we don't have any proof that that is the truth in the business. So the first thing we have to do is look out for the certified logos, like I showed you before, and different labels focus on various aspects of sustainability, including all the pillars that I said before. So I think that is the first thing we have to look at the labels, and not just because a brand says, oh, we're using natural fibers. No, we have to look at if they have the textile label certification that ensure the customers that they are during the path of sustainability. And I think one of the other topics that is very important is the challenges and limitations, because I was really surprised when I was looking at making the research and everything, that it doesn't matter that a label or certifications advocates for a topic specifically, but there are very spaces where they cannot assure us that the brand is 100% sustainable. I think right now it's a challenge for small businesses and local producers. So, for example, as a small brand for a local market, these certifications can be very time consuming and difficult in the sense of the money. For example, how people can invest in having all these certifications, because sometimes it's a little bit high, the price they have to pay. So it requires a lot of fees, inspection, audits, periodic renewals, and it can be a very financially for a small brand, it can be a little bit difficult for them to access these certifications. Another one is global market disparities in developing countries where sustainable practices are critical for economic growth. Many producers cannot afford these certification fees, and as a result, these producers might be engaging in sustainable practices but lack formal recognition. Like I was saying before, if we want to shop a brand, maybe they do have sustainable practices, but the certifications gives them like the credibility. And I think it limits the market reach and the customer trust. But I think if we are informed consumers, we can develop our critical thinking and intuitively believe if a brand it is focused on sustainable practices or if they're not. Another challenge that we do have with all these certification processes is the complexity and lack of transparency in the certification processes. Like as I was saying, some certifications make it difficult for consumers to understand what the label truly warranties without clear access to certification standards and criteria. Consumers may be unsure about what ethical or environmental practices are genuinely taking place within the brand. And not all the certifications are created equally. While some certification as USDA organic have a strict independent audited standards, other may be more lenient criteria or rely on self-reporting, which can compromise the reliability of the label. I think it's one of the challenges that we all face as a consumers, that like I was explaining before, there are very empty spaces that this certification does not cover, right? So some certifications also overlap in their scope, covering similar issues like fair labor practices or environmental impact. And sometimes this redundancy can lead to inefficient in certification processes where brands seek multiple labels that essentially communicate the same message, which can drive up cost without adding substantial value. It's very, during these certification processes, it's very difficult for a brand to get a little bit confused on what the certification really stands for. So I think it's kind of overwhelming for the people that are behind the brand. I think other limited or another challenge that we face is that there's the lack of holistic standards. Few certifications addresses the entire life cycle of a product. From the moment they are created to the production and to disposal and to the end of the life. But sometimes are products that can meet certain standards for production, but still contribute to waste or pollution after they are used. For example, if a brand is using a lot of synthetic materials, it is more difficult after the end cycle life of the product. It is more difficult for the product to vanish, let's say, because when we use biodegradable materials, it's easier for the product to come to another cycle of life or to be recycled, for example. So even if we have certifications, there is potential for greenwashing, because some of the people or some brands can use it as a marketing tool. In some cases, companies may use certification as a form of greenwashing, in the sense that they market themselves as sustainable by obtaining a minimal certification without having 100% or a more committed practice of sustainability. They might have, okay, let's have this certification and we can say that we are sustainable, but they can also, at the same time that they're getting this certification, they can also be engaging in practices that are not sustainable. So the obsolescence and evolving standards is another challenge that we faced within the certification industry, because the industry changes really fast, and also the certifications need to be upgraded, let's say. So for instance, we can learn more about carbon offsets and their effectiveness. Certifications based on outdated carbon neutral methodologies may not reflect the best practices. And sometimes these certifications are set up with fixed standards, but things change and it is not the same. The market is not the same as it was 20 years ago. So these standards need to be evolving. And sometimes they just keep the same standards as many years ago. And I think that it's a gap during the process of what does the certification means, and may no longer represent the actual market or the actual necessities of the brand and of the consumers. So how do we address these limitations from our point of view as consumers, or for example, myself, that I am having my clothing line? There's a lot of things that we can do to get the brand in a more conscious process. And the first one is to advocate to lower costs and accessibilities. We can have a support from local government programs, but I think it's very limited. I mean, the government in different countries, they have other issues that they care about more about these than making brands sustainable. And the other one is promoting transparency and education, like we're doing now as a movement, to facilitate information to people, to consumers, so they can have more informed choices. And then we can also encourage continuous improvement within our choices, and also for the brands. The certification should adapt as a scientific understanding and industry standards evolve. So continuous improvement and regular updates to standards can ensure certifications remain relevant and impactful. And I think this is the part that we come together as a community, is how can we shop and how can we make a difference in our area of being consumers. And the things that we can do is, the first one is research the brands before we shop. I know that not all the brands have their information online, but I think we can, if we go to a store, maybe we can ask about the materials that this product is made, and different topics about the product. Always remember to invest in quality over quantity, because sometimes when we are in the rush of sale season and everything, sometimes we get this fear of missing out a sale, and we buy a lot of stuff. But I think it's very important for us to really understand that at the end of the day, it is about the quality of the product, because some clothes, it really shows that they are made of cheap materials, and at the end we don't want to have that kind of image or a style that seems a little bit a little bit cheap, right? So I think it's very important, the quality of our clothing, and also buy and support local businesses, local designers. I think that right now, in the rise of sustainable fashion, there's a lot of designers and brands that really want to make a difference for them, for their community, and to be able to make a difference in their economy and their local economy. So I think it's very important to support those kinds of designers and small businesses, because conscious shopping is more about of what we buy. It's more like a mindset of how we perceive the world, and how my values as a person are shown in the way we shop. So I think it's about researching brands, making our clothes last, taking care of what we have. And also, I think we can embrace practices not only in the way we shop, but also in the way we live our lives. So I think that, for example, there always will be impact on the environment, but what am I doing to make the most of it, to make the best choices? So I think that can be one of the easiest way for us to navigate this slow fashion journey. So I think with this, we are at the end of this presentation. Please feel free to comment what practices do you do on your regular basis, and I hope it was helpful information. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Merlina. It